plate. A whole bunch of runners come in.
First time he's ever driven in a run as a pinch hitter. This turned out to be a pretty big hit.
Now Moore comes screaming in, so the Chicago Cubs rally to win that one by a score of 9-4. All right, here's Joe Madden taking some notes. Here's the lineup that he's got out there tonight with Bryant, Rizzo, Baez in the middle. Carlos Gonzalez in right field again.
Yeah, Cargo swung the bat pretty well, you know, but I always look at Javi Baez as one of the most exciting players to watch in all of baseball. He's sitting there in the 4-hole, MVP candidate once again this year. And with Schwarber and Bryant getting on in front of him, he's going to have a lot of RBI opportunities.
Of course, Dexter Fowler, who wore both the Cubs and now Cardinal uniform, out there reminiscing perhaps, realizing what he had here, but what he's got in St. Louis as well. Transition of St. Louis. We mentioned some of the guys that have to kind of pick it up offensively. Matt Carpenter is one of them, streaky hitter, and Paul Goldschmidt's got to get going.
Yeah, Goldie's one of those guys who's always been a little bit of a slow starter, but here's a guy right now, OPS still under 800. The Cardinals are looking for him to be that stud in the middle of the order. I think he will get there, but Cardinals fans need to look at him and go, okay, Goldie, let's turn it on now because we're a 500 team. We need to start winning some baseball games.
The lineup just doesn't look the same without Yadier Molina, and they're on the injured list. But you're right, Goldie's got to get going if this team's going to get going.
Kind of an odd night here. It feels almost like the Marine layer in San Francisco. Any impact at all for a hitter, a fielder, a pitcher?
Oh, I love it as a hitter because usually a 6 o'clock start local time here, there's bad shadows with the sunshine.
No shadow.
There's no sun. You're going to see the ball really well. If I'm a hitter, I love this weather tonight.
So it is the Cubs and the Cardinals. And you got Adam Wainwright, who in a city right now that is waiting perhaps tonight to win a Stanley Cup championship, and a huge hockey fan that he is. This is going to be a quick game because Wainwright wants to see that. Hendricks throws as quick as anybody.
Right, and Kyle Hendricks throws a lot of strikes. You need to watch him to understand what the art of pitching is all about because not many people do it better than him.
And he threw a complete game shutout against the Cardinals about a month ago. He might be on it again tonight.
All right, that'll do it for us. For Tim Kirchen, Mark Teixeira, our entire Baseball Tonight Sunday Night Countdown crew, I'm Carl Ravitch. Up to the booth. Enjoy the game, everybody.
Another packed house in Chicago and another stop along the fabled I-55 rivalry, a series where this season the home team has won every game. It's the St. Louis Cardinals and the Chicago Cubs on Sunday Night Baseball, presented by Taco Bell. Well, this series began on Friday with the Cubs earning a 3-1 win behind a Javi Baez homer and 8 brilliant scoreless innings from Cole Hamels. Last night, the Cubs improved to a 5-1 homestand after St. Louis was staked to a 4-0 lead. The Cubs scored 9 unanswered runs, with Kyle Schwarber delivering a big homer and John Lester surviving a shaky first inning. So, as a result of that, and with Milwaukee finishing off the sweep of the Pirates today, the top of the NL Central looks like this, with most predicting the National League's toughest division will stay close all the way through September. So tonight, the Cardinals try to stave off the sweep by calling on their 37-year-old senior statesman, Adam Wainwright, who last Sunday against these same Cubs was brilliant. 8 shutout innings. He did walk 7. But Wainwright threw 126 pitches, a big effort, as most in about 5+ years. For Chicago, no pitcher in baseball has been more effective the last month than Kyle Hendricks, who turned his season around with an 81-pitch, 4-hit shutout of the Cardinals the last time he faced St. Louis in early May. Well, the conditions at Wrigley, always a topic, as we help keep track of them with the scoreboard flags in center field. The same flags, by the way, that help us sort out the ever-changing race atop the NL Central. Yeah, it's a central scramble with the lineups and opening pitch from Chicago coming up next. ESPN's telecast of Sunday Night Baseball is presented by Taco Bell. Sometimes you gotta live Moss. Adam Wainwright getting his warm-up tosses in, perhaps a little later than usual tonight for this series finale as we welcome you back to the friendly confines on a foggy evening for baseball. And Kyle Hendricks ready to go to work to host for the home side. We welcome you inside the broadcast booth with Alex Rodriguez and Jessica Mendoza. Buster Olney with us as well. Matt Vasgersian. Hey, the Cubs, Alex, flying high, looking to finish off a sweep here this weekend.
Absolutely. On July 25th, 2016, the Cubs acquired left-handed closer Aroldis Chapman from the Yankees, and it helped snap a 108-year drought for championships. They're hoping Craig Kimbrell can do the same for this team, and it'll be the first championship in 3 years.
Well, and for the Cardinals, you think about who they're looking to, and there's a lot of guys, but it's Paul Goldschmidt. I mean, this is a batter in this lineup that has struggled, and we've heard about Paul Goldschmidt in the past. Everyone keeps saying it. I believe, of course, there's a better hitter in there, but it is time now. It's June. This is a 500 team. If they do not come out of it, they need him to lead the way, and the time is now.
Yeah, and easier said than done against a guy who was really rough on him about a month ago. This is how Mike Shildt aligns the Cardinals. St. Louis with their Taco Bell starting lineup tonight. It's Matt Carpenter to lead things off. Hit a Cardinals record 8 home runs against Chicago last year. Paul DeJong and Paul Goldschmidt follow. Two-time All-Star Marcelo Ozuna hit a homer yesterday. He's in left field tonight. Fowler, Wong, Bader, Kisner. And by the way, when Brandon Kinsler gets in the game to pitch against Andrew Kisner, our Scotch-Irish tongues will officially be tied in a knot, and that's when we'll tap out. And Adam Wainwright rounds out the lineup for St. Louis. It is Kyle Hendricks on the mound for Chicago tonight, making his 13th start of the year. After a shaky start to the season, he looks like a guy headed to Cleveland for the All-Star game this year.
Oh, he is, Matt, and he is pitching better now than I've seen him since he won the ERA title back in 2016, especially here at home. 1.71 ERA in those 6 home starts. What you're going to see from him is not someone that's going to blow you by with the fastball. It's going to be more 87, 88 miles an hour, that two-seamer. A beautiful changeup, but really, guys, someone who knows how to work the edges, a pitchability. Sequencing is what he does best, and it's honestly perfection.
Well, we mentioned how Kyle Hendricks in his first handful of starts, 5 to be exact, did not look like a guy who was off to a terrific 2019. However, in his last 7, nobody's been better. An ERA just over 2. He's won 5 of those 7 starts and is averaging over 7 innings per assignment, most recently coming off a 10 strikeout victory over Colorado here on Tuesday on a night that was very similar to tonight in terms of conditions. In fact, there's even more fog in the air this evening as Matt Carpenter digs in to start things tonight. Weird that you really cannot see too far beyond the rooftops on a day like today.
Carl Ravitch nailed it when he said it feels like a San Francisco Bay Area day where the fog's just creeping in.
And a hitter's delight. Perfect conditions for hitting. With a 6 o'clock start Central, usually you have the first at bats quite challenging. This is perfect.
Carpenter, DeJong, and Goldschmidt to start things for Mike Shildt's Cardinals tonight. Carpenter sends the ball the other way in the air for Kyle Schwarber. And the first out's in the books for Kyle Hendricks. Well, we touched on it when we went on the air, the fact that the St. Louis lineup has just misfired the last couple of weeks. They, of course, got off to the terrific start, a Major League best 20-10 out of the gates. But they have stumbled since, and that includes sweeping these Cubs last weekend at Busch Stadium. Here's Paul DeJong now. There have been many problems, including the inability to come through with a big hit. The last Cardinals hit with a runner in scoring position and 2 out was exactly a week ago today.
Well, I think what it is, what we've seen with these Cardinals hitters, is the ability to go streaky. They have these streaks where they're hot. Paul DeJong, one of them, so hot early in the season, has struggled as of late. Matt Carpenter, who's known to be streaky, their leadoff hitter. And we talked about Paul Goldschmidt, someone that you know is going to get hot. But so far this season, we have yet to see that consistent at-bats put together.
There's nothing more demoralizing for an offense than having your 1-2 hitter struggle. And that's been the case all season long for the Cardinals. They can't get going, and it makes it even harder for guys like Goldie to really get hot.
2 balls and a strike to count to DeYoung. He chases. It's 2-2. To your point, Alex, the batting average between the first 2 spots in the Cardinals order is next to last in baseball. The OPS just over 700. I think yesterday was a great example. After the 4-run first, the Cardinals did not hit a ball out of the infield the rest of the night.
When you look at championship teams, they start off with a great leadoff hitter and a guy that can control the bat usually in the second slot. You saw Dexter Fowler do that for the 2016 Cubs, and he played a very, very pivotal. In 2017, they missed Dexter's flexibility, durability, and also the fact that he was a switch hitter leading off.
Dexter in the lineup batting 5th for the Cardinals tonight. There's the first strikeout of the game for Kyle Hendricks.
And the changeup, and this was the one that cuts a little bit. 2 swings and misses early for DeYoung on the changeup, both cut. Looks like a fastball, acts like a changeup.
2 quick outs for Paul Goldschmidt. You know, it's getting harder and harder for Kyle Hendricks to stick to his patented line that he is not a strikeout pitcher. And I get it, right? He's not a big velo guy, but he's had an 11 strikeout game this year. He punched out 10 in his last assignment against the Rockies. That's hit well to right field. Carlos Gonzalez has a line on it, however, and it's a 1-2-3 start to the ball game for Kyle Hendricks. Scoreless start to the night, authored by Kyle Hendricks. It's time to take a look at the Chicago Cubs Taco Bell starting lineup tonight for Joe Madden. To lead it off with Kyle Schwarber, who Joe says is swinging the bat better than he's ever seen. He's hit safely in 6 in a row. Bryant, Rizzo, and Baez follow. Carlos Gonzalez, the newest Cub, the 3-time All-Star, batting number 5. Wilson Contreras, Jason Hayward, Kyle Hendricks, and David Bodie round things out for the Chicago Cubs, who trail only the LA Dodgers in terms of run differential this year, and they've been very good at home. They'll be faced by a guy who, too, has enjoyed his experiences at Wrigley Field. Last time out notwithstanding, right-hander Adam Wainwright.
Yeah, 6'7", 235-pounder. 5-5 this season with a 4.34, and he features fastball. He cuts it, he sinks it, he has a changeup, and the signature curveball that's made him very famous and a two-time world champion.
Curveball's always been good. He's thrown it even more in terms of percentage in his last couple of seasons. And he's got Kyle Schwarber behind 0-1. Schwarber homered yesterday, drove in a pair of runs. He is the latest beneficiary, is Schwarber, of the Joe Madden, I'm going to put you at leadoff to heat you up. Something that's happened with Anthony Rizzo, something that he did with Ben Zobrist on occasion, and it's Schwarber benefiting from that Midas spot these days.
His at-bats last night against the Cardinals are the best at-bats I've seen from him, including last year. I mean, and it wasn't that he had bad at-bats the entire season, but just putting together, and even what he talked to us about, Alex, of just being able to use his hands more. He's such a strong guy, and how hard he hits the ball. I mean, his average exit velocity is crazy, but it's when he's trying to do that, and he uses so much of his body that it gets in the way.
Well, let's take a look at who's flipping the switch, brought to you by Boost Mobile. It is Kyle Schwarber yesterday to cap off an 11-pitch at-bat, his 12th homer of the season that tied it in the fourth. Straightened out Jack Flaherty after a long at-bat. Number 12 for Kyle Schwarber.
And Matt, if you looked at that swing right there, I mean, it looks like a cut-down 7-iron. It's like a half swing. And he was so much more confident today talking to us, Jess, than when we were here earlier this year. He looks in your eye, better eye contact, better body language, was not in a hurry to move on. You like what you see, and Joe Madden said is the hottest he's ever been. That's quite the compliment, Jess.
There's ball 4. Leadoff hitters aboard in the Chicago half of the first. Something to watch tonight for Adam Wainwright, and we talked about this, guys, when we went on the air, the fact that he threw 126 pitches last time around. And yes, he shut out the Cubs over 8 innings, but he walked 7 batters. So, you know, in terms of raw pitch count, it's a big number. Mike Schilt told us before the game, maybe not as big as it looks, because a lot of that was stress-free. There wasn't a lot of traffic on base for much of his assignment. We'll see how he responds tonight.
But,
go ahead, Justin. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, but of those 126 pitches, 70 of them, only 70 were strikes. And I think to your point, yes, there's intentional balls, there's pitching around, but there was, I felt like, a lack of command early, and something to keep an eye on tonight. Yeah,
and I agree to a certain degree with Mike Schilt. In other ways, I don't, because at 37 years old, 126 pitches is still 126 pitches, you know, stressful or not.
One ball and 1 strike. The count to Chris Bryant. You know, Mike Schilt knows that it's time to get going here. After that great start to the season, 20 wins in their first 30 games, Cardinals have struggled. 2 balls and a strike. Since May 2nd, and that was the last time the Cardinals visited Wrigley, they've won only 1 series. And that was last weekend when they swept the Cubs at Busch. Bryant into left center field. Schwarber's going to try for third. He'll get there in front of the throw. It is not a secret that you can run on Marcell Ozuna in left, to the degree that they're taking third base on base hits to left.
And good cutter, you'll see, going down and away, going down, good swing, just a little cement mixer here. Cutter blends into a slider, head down, and great base running by Schwarber. Head down, great shift. And the Cubs doing what the Cardinals have not done, is get their offense going with their 1 and 2 hitter. But Schwarber going to third there. They were the best team last year going first to third than any team in baseball. 128 times last year. The second team, Dodgers at 96.
Among the many things the Cubs have in common with the Dodgers, and we'll talk about that as we continue tonight, because we'll have the Cubs and Dodgers next week in L.A. There was some attention given to Chris Bryant after the base hit because that right ankle rolled on his way to second. Chris okay to stay in the game for the moment, and that gives Anthony Rizzo a chance to bat with second and third and nobody out. On one hop to Goldschmidt's going to drive in a run. 1-0 Chicago.
And give credit to Schwarber there, going from first to third on a base hit to left field. Think about how different that at bat is for Rizzo versus Golden. Ground ball to first, RBI, everyone feels good, and gets Bryant over to third, a double positive.
Do you guys have a problem with Ozuna throwing to third base on that hit to left field rather than throw to second?
Well, I feel like as a left fielder, no one should ever take third base on you, period. And it comes with the route and the fact that he had to turn on that. He had to flip his body around. And once that happened, Buster, I'm with you. You got to go to second base. But his route, if it had taken him around the ball and he could have thrown to third, then that's where you got to go. Watch when Marcell Ozuna gets to this, and it's to his left, but because of the route he takes, he's got to flip to his left side instead of getting around the ball. See him slow down? That right there, that move is what allows, the throw, everything to be offline. You got to get around that, come through it, and now you got velocity on that, and you have a chance to throw Schwarber out.
0-1 the count to Javi Baez. Sharply hit to second for Wong. That keeps Bryant in check and gives Wainwright his second out of the inning. So 2 gone with a runner at third for the right fielder, the 3-time All-Star Carlos Gonzalez. The newest Cub. His addition connects the lineup, gives Chicago another left-handed bat to choose from. And by the way, tonight, something that the Cubs are probably going to feature a lot moving forward, an entirely left-handed hitting outfield. 3-time All-Star signed a minor league deal with the Cubs on June 1st after being designated for assignment by the Indians at the end of May. And not going to take him long to get back to Colorado. That's the next destination for Chicago. Hasn't happened very often. And all left-handed hitting outfield. Each of these players playing at least half the season. Most recently 2005, Jeremy Burnitz, Corey Patterson, and Todd Hollinsworth. There have been all left-handed hitting outfields on occasion, September call-ups and such, but as far as a regular alignment, hasn't happened very often here.
Well, to your point, Matty, the NL Central is full of right-handed pitchers. So we're seeing just the need and the want for more left-handed batters. And in a day and age when there are obviously a ton of lefties, the Cubs are the ones that have them all as far as in the Central. Now the Cubs will go to LA, face a lot of lefties in the Dodgers within the National League. But as far as within their division, having more lefties is a positive.
2 balls and a strike to Gonzalez. He doubled and drove in a pair in the win yesterday. On the ground for DeYoung, and it could have been a whole lot worse for Adam Wainwright. Second and third with nobody out, and Chicago settles for a lone run in their half of the first. Cubs get a run in their half of the first inning to give Kyle Hendricks an early 1-0 lead. Top half of the second. And Hendricks works to the middle of the Cardinals order. Marcell Ozuna, Dexter Fowler, and Colton Wong from high atop the manual scoreboard here at the friendly confines. Marcell Ozuna is one of only 2 Cardinal hitters that can claim anything close to success against Kyle Hendricks. Nine for 26, 346 batting average, and 2 homers against him. But outside he and Dexter Fowler do up next, there's not a whole lot of luck. And he's way out in front.
The pitch sequence that Marcell Ozuna is seeing, he saw 88 up in the zone, and here's 79 down and away. And this is, again, pitching to the edges, up in the right-hand quarter to the bottom left. 88 to 79, but it's the change of plane. It's the change of just the ability of where those pitches are located and the velocity that Kyle Hendricks does so well.
Breeze through the Cardinals in the first with a strikeout. Kai Hendricks works the perimeter of the strike zone as well as anybody in baseball, as his place on that chart will indicate. Ozuna one hops to third. Good play by Bryant. He threw it away, however, and Ozuna's safe.
Should be at second base. Yeah, terrific play here on the front end by Bryant. And just lets it go. Would have been a base hit either way. But the wild throw, an error. And that's just panic. You catch the ball, you turn around, and you say, oh, that's when you're best put it in your back pocket.
See the scoring decision there, single E5, and you kind of wonder if the right ankle's at all bothering him. We saw him roll that on his way to second base as a runner last inning. So a runner in scoring position now for Dexter Fowler. You know, the Cardinals lineup is in such a place now where a base hit, a runner in scoring position, that's a big deal. That snapped an 0 for 26 in this series by the Cardinals hitters.
And Matty, if you're Dexter Fowler and you're in the batter's box, keep it very simple. Give me a good ground ball to second, fly ball, get that guy to third, and start with small bites. Think small, and big things will happen. Do not try to hit a 2-run homer right here.
Dexter Fowler even thinking about bunting. Talk about thinking small.
Ball and a strike to Fowler. Bunting. Hendricks has got it. Oh, wanted the lead runner, and they had him by plenty, but Bryant wasn't there to field the throw. Ozuna was a dead duck.
And I love that by Fowler, putting the pressure on. Takes a terrific play from Hendricks here. 9 out of 10 pitchers do not make this play. He's thinking third base. Bryant's coming in for the bunt and recovers nicely. Look at the footwork. Boom. And a rocket to first base.
Yeah, but watch Bryant out of the corner of your eye not get back to third base. Once he knew that he wasn't getting the bunt, he didn't make that move to get back to third base.
So runner at third with one gone now for Colton Wong. And Wong has lined to left to tie the ball game. That, and it eats up Schwarber. Wong to second.
And these are the hardest plays to field as an outfielder because it's hit right at you. And you can see Schwarber deciding, does he want to dive? Does he want to slide? What does he want to do? He thinks he can keep it in front of him, use his body by going down to the slide, but going to the the slide actually allows his body to get underneath the ball instead of almost, which is his background, like a catcher, getting up and around this ball, knocking it down with his chest. Not easy to do because of where that ball lands, but once he decides to go down to his feet, it allows it to get by him.
So now Harrison Bader, and a couple of things have played into this run scoring rally for St. Louis here, Alex. You've got the error on Bryant on the throw, and then what appeared to be limited mobility by Bryant trying to get back to the third base bag on the play that would have retired the lead runner.
You know, people talk about that every out's the same. You'll see him right here. And why he stumbles right here is he's thinking this ball may be cut by the shortstop and throw to second. When that ball goes through, he continues on. But, Matty, to answer your question, people say that every out is the same and strikeouts. Let me tell you, strikeouts do matter, and they hurt a team. I mean, I love the Cardinals, what they've done. This infield hit by Osuna, you got the bunt by Fowler, putting the pressure on, and then, boom, Wong with a base hit that turns out to be a double. But they're putting the pressure, thinking small, and big things are happening.
2 balls and a strike to Harrison Bader. You know, and if you're Kyle Hendricks, it's not like you've horribly missed your execution. His game plan is pitch to contact and limit opposing slugging percentage. Yes, Wong has doubled here, but for the most part, he's done his job, has Hendricks. Infield chopper for Baez. And there are 2 away.
The other thing that bunt does, Jessica, for your offensive team, it signals to your dugout, hey, I'm going to have confidence in the next guy behind me. I'm going to pass the baton. By Fowler bunting, he's conceding to the guy behind. I'm going to put this guy on third base. You do the job. You think small, big things happen. That's the only way you can really beat Hendricks.
So a runner at third with a run in and 2 away now for the St. Louis catcher. Andrew Kisner gets the starting assignment today. Matt Wieters has handled the bulk of the catching in the absence of Yadi Molina, who's on the injured list. Kinzer called up from AAA Memphis and is making just his 2nd career start tonight. His first also came with Adam Wainwright on the mound a week ago. You know, you might be thinking, too, that with Kinzer up and somebody other than Molina catching Wainwright, that could be problematic because Molina and Wainwright have been together so often, so long. But Kinzer has experience with him as well.
In AAA, I mean, when Adam Wainwright was on rehab assignment, it was Kisner that was his catcher. And when Mike Schilt said that he would catch him last weekend, he said, I kind of was hoping that that's what it would be.
Popped him up. Bodie and Baez negotiate, and it's Baez that retires the side. Not before the Cardinals can scratch across an early tying run, middle of the 2nd in a 1-1 game. Welcome back to Sunday Night Baseball on ESPN. This telecast is presented by Taco Bell. Adam Wainwright back to work after his lineup evens up the score on his behalf.
You don't see a lot of starting pitchers being really just a two-pitch pitcher and have the success that Adam Wainwright can still find. But it's his fastball followed by his curveball, working these two pitches off each other. This is very classic Adam, but it's where these two tunnel and then break off. Very drastic difference. The big hook at 75 and then his fastball in the upper 80s. For a lot of hitters, it's amazing how those pitches will play off each other. And Alex, you talked about, he'll even take his fastball and he can four seam, he can sink it, he can cut it. But it's really how he utilizes the curveball, which he's throwing more now than he ever has. 26% 2 years ago, now up to 34% this year.
Pitcher's gone from power to finesse and using creativity to get hitters out.
Wilson Contreras leads things off in the Chicago half of the second. We talked about this a little while ago, the fact that he has become more reliant on his curveball in his senior statehood. In fact, throwing it for a bigger percentage of pitches than anybody in baseball right now. Ground ball to second, or short rather, for DeYoung, and there's one away. Coming up on Tuesday, more great Major League Baseball action on ESPN. The Mets and Yankees, Zach Wheeler and James Paxton in the Big Apple battle. Wednesday night baseball, the Brewers and Astros. And Thursday, in anticipation of the College World Series beginning just a few short days later, the first ever Major League game played in the state of Nebraska features the Tigers and Royals in Omaha, side of the College World Series. And then a week from tonight, Jess, Buster, Alex, and I are in Los Angeles for the Cubs and Dodgers. That is ripped right out of the pages of the College World Series right there. That kind of fan participation, if not the Elton John garage sale. It's a 1-1 count on Jason Hayward, batting with one out and the bases empty here in the second. Good breaking ball to make the count 1-2.
The shift for Jason Hayward, you see why there's only one person on the left side. Carpenter, that 17%. Other than that, almost 80% from second base over. So much more common, and actually not so much so for the Cardinals or the Cubs. They actually don't shift a ton on baseball, on defense, but when they do, they have a ton of success.
Jason Hayward is off to a kind of an interesting start to the year. He has already hit more homers than he hit in all of 2018. But the type of pitch that he's doing damage on is a little different than where it was last year.
Fastballs, I mean, those were the pitches he would struggle with. Now he's over 300 against fastballs, a $150 against non-fastballs. But remember, we were talking just last year how fastball was the pitch that he could not get to. He was always late on it. Now getting much more on time, getting his hands in better position.
StatCast AI powered by AWS as Hayward sticks around on 2 strike count, still 3-2.
And just really using his hands instead of his arms. This is a guy that's so athletic, and we've had this conversation for years, and what Jason Hayward, the expectation, what he can do. But when he frees up those hands, man.
Base hit into right.
Like that.
Watch his top hand. And this was the one, guys, that would get so locked up when you'd see replays of him last. Look how loose. Look at how he keeps it loose in his fingers. That top hand especially. This was something he would almost cross over where you'd see knuckles facing Wainwright. Now it allows him to be quick. It allows him to get into such a great position instead of his arms. Now it's his hands and getting that entire backside into the best position. So strong, so quick. But someone who has struggled in a Cubs uniform to be able to showcase that athleticism, especially at the plate.
Especially when you're 6'5", 240 pounds, you want to use that strength, that athleticism, and he has a lot more whip in his swing than he did before. That's a great point, Jessica, on the grip. He used to really squeeze that.
1 out, 1 on for Kyle Hendricks, the pitcher batting 8th in tonight's Cubs lineup. Kyle bunting. Kisner's got it, and the sacrifice works.
Alex, they knew you were here. Seeing both teams lay him down. Not just go to the bunt, but execute the bunt.
I love it. I mean, just perfect technique. Gets it out here. Bat vertical above the ball and just dents it softly and perfectly. And with Hayward running a plus runner, the bunt doesn't have to be great. It just has to be good. And that was exactly what Hendricks did. Showing athleticism on both sides of the plate, bunting and fielding.
Got a situation here where, because the pitcher's batting eighth tonight, it could play right into Chicago's opportunity to score a run. David Bodie, a chance to plate a man with a runner in scoring position and 2 gone. David's hit safely in 8 straight starts at the started plate tonight. We talked to Joe Madden about tonight's lineup, batting the pitcher eighth, and he admitted to us that there is a degree of playing the lottery involved in the decision. But he cited a few reasons for it tonight. He feels like it feeds the 1 and 2 spots in the batting order. If he's got a pure hitter batting number 9. He feels like David Bodie may benefit from it because Schwarber looms on deck and Schwarber's red hot. And on the occasion of a shorter start, it allows you to pinch hit for your pitcher a little bit earlier in the game. That's not something they anticipate having to do with Hendricks, but it's a feel thing. And Joe was feeling it tonight. Into right for Fowler. It still may pay off. Base runner left stranded in a 1-1 tie.
Kevin Connors in studio. Time now for tonight's Coast to Coast Connection, brought to you by T-Mobile. What an 8th inning at Petco. What a hitting exhibition put on by the Nationals. Howie Kendrick, and then Trey Turner, and then Adam Eaton, and then Anthony Rendon. They go back to back to back to back, all off Craig Stum, and that's 4 home runs in a span of 7 pitches. The Nationals were the last team to hit 4 consecutive home runs in a game. They did that in July of 2017 against the Brewers. They win 5-2. Meantime, Max Muncy off Madison Bumgarner into McCovey Cove. The two were jawing at each other. Muncy said after the game, if you don't like it, don't have a ball end up in the ocean. 1-0 Dodgers beat the Giants. Matt?
Oh, Kevin, that's good stuff. Yeah, I mean, look, you hit a ball into the Cove, you got to be okay with a flip, although Mad Bum's wired a little bit differently than most.
Oh, you got to be okay with the flip. I mean, that's the time you're going to flip it. I mean, that's like, are you kidding me? I hit it out into the Cove, but...
And also the aggressive quote after the game to double down on it. But I didn't have a problem with the way he actually walked that off. I didn't think it was too bad. What do you think, Buster?
Well, Madison Bumgarner responded to what Max Muncy said. He said they want to let everyone be themselves and let me be myself. That's me. You do your thing, I'll do mine. Everybody is different. That's how I want to play. That's how I'm going to.
What a great response, too. Here's Adam Wainwright leading things off in the 3rd for St. Louis. Dodgers and Cubs a week from tonight on Sunday Night Baseball in something that a lot of folks are already calling a possible sneak peek into the postseason. Two best home records in baseball. The Cubs and Dodgers have a lot of similarities this year. Here's a 1-2 to Wainwright. Little bouncer up the middle for Baez. So that'll bring up Matt Carpenter, who lined out in his first plate appearance tonight, and it was one that came without any bruises. This is the kind of week that Matt has endured. He absolutely beat himself up. By his own informal guess, no fewer than 10 foul balls off the shins.
Oh, 10, double digit.
I don't think one of them hit that shin pad. Not one.
He even got one off the back.
He doubled up this week. This time is a little bit bigger. Twice the size. I don't blame him.
I mean, Alex, is that just pure coincidence, or is there something to be learned with the way you're being pitched or your path to the ball when that keeps happening to you?
First of all, to me, you're going around the ball, which makes a lot of sense because he's pulling everything. And also, he's really struggling on secondary pitches. But the fact that every righty is throwing cutters into you, sliders in, changes in, those are all balls that are conducive, if you're wrapping around, to smoke you right in your own ankle.
Hendricks has a 0-2.
You want to talk about a shift? Only 12%. 12% to the left of second base, the 30 and the 47, that's 77%. That's why you've got everyone stacked on the right side of the plate, or the base.
And you guys saw that right there, a 1-2 fastball at 89. His velocity has actually ticked up a couple of miles per hour since his first start this season. We're seeing that more and more. Kyle Hendricks attacking the top of the zone with a better fastball than he had back in April.
Well,
2 balls and 2 strikes.
It's not even just the velocity, which you're right. It's been up a mile per hour even since April. He's ticked it up a notch. But again, just elevating more, knowing if you're up to the plate, you're going to see something down. You're going to see a sinker. You're going to see a changeup. And so the four-seamer at the letters just surprises hitters. And Alex, you talked about it's that effective velocity, meaning it might only be 89, but it feels like 95.
Full count pitch to Carpenter is served into right field, a base hit.
Great hitting here on a changeup. And again, it looks like a cut down 7-iron. Watch this. Watch the half swing right here. Boom. And I love that. That's all you need. Changeup 81. Goes out about 91 on the base hit, on the velo. And just like a half wedge. Boom. But watch how relaxed this is. I love that. You don't have to take every swing and be a home run. Contact matters. And it did right there.
There's Paul DeYoung, a strikeout victim in his first try. You know, we talked to Kyle Hendricks, back to what Buster had mentioned about the increased use of the high fastball, the little extra giddy up on the velocity this year. He feels like there's a couple things working. He's worked on his legs a lot, and he's starting to see some of the benefits of that. And he's no longer worried about that amount of movement, the tilt that he used to get on the fastball. When he wants to throw a hot four-seamer, he just goes ahead and rears back and throws it. Not everything has to have a little cut or a little movement to it. Hendricks is among the best at reading swings and kind of feeling an at-bat.
Speaking of swings, Matty, the challenge for hitters that Hendricks presents, it does not allow you to take one swing, the golf swing, the Ferris wheel. Sinker changeup guys, it's easier to hit, but you have to bring 2 swings. You have to hit that ball on top and also that sinker down.
Gets DeYoung to pop it up. Gonzalez has got it for route number 2.
Matty, you were talking about just getting more in his legs, getting stronger. He's got even a little bit more of a yoga, Pilates mentality pregame of how he likes to finish pitches. You hear about pronation, you hear about just being able to kind of finish with that extension. So when he's warming up, he'll even pause on one leg, kind of stay there, because that's how he gets that effectiveness for his two-seam. See him balance on that left foot, and he'll do it even more exaggerated than that, where he stays in that position, because it's his ability to finish those pitches why he gets so much success in that late movement.
Ouch.
What I love is his fastball changeup, and this is one of the best of when we say tunneling. That's the same pitch. Literally, it doesn't even change, but it's a 9-mile-an-hour difference. But look how much he's able to replicate his body, the tunnel of the pitch. Yeah, it's that 9-mile-an-hour difference that gets the swing and misses. He had 21 his last start.
Very rarely do you have a pitcher that throws a fastball that cuts and sinks, and also throws a changeup that cuts and sink. Now that's 87 miles an hour. That's like the high school speed, right by a great hitter. I mean, right by him. 87.
Carpenter runs, and Goldschmidt sends it into center field for Jason Hayward to retire the side. Nothing comes of the one-out single. Through 2.5 in Chicago, a 1-1 tie. Chicago's back there somewhere. It is a foggy night here. They said this was going to blow out of here by game time, but they were wrong. Still a pleasant night for baseball.
I don't know. Summertime is here. I want sun. I want some heat.
Well, we got what, another week and a half until summer officially arrives. There's Kyle Schwarber. That's a fair ball up the first baseline. Goldschmidt to Wainwright, and there's one away. You know it's still spring because ESPN will be back in Toronto for Game 5 of the NBA Finals tomorrow, 9 Eastern. Raptors looking to close out their first ever NBA title. The Warriors look to force a Game 6. Our coverage starts with NBA Countdown at 8:30 Eastern, 5:30 Pacific on ABC and the ESPN app. Warriors with their backs to the wall after a sluggish second half on Friday.
Who are you going for, Matt?
I cannot reveal my partisanship. As a Bay Area native and lifelong Warriors fan, I just won't let that out on the air.
Alex, who you got?
I haven't watched the finals since Michael Jordan retired.
1 ball and 1 strike to count to Chris Bryant. Singled in the first, and we're still kind of watching how the right ankle continues to respond today after Chris rolled it, advancing to second base that inning.
You know, they say 1 and 1 is the most important count in pitching. Bryant this year on 2-1 counts, where he got the single, 8 for 15 now on 1-2 counts, 2 for 38.
This is what happened after Chris got on base in the first.
And you saw the ball pass there, and he's basically wondering, is that ball going to get cut? If it gets cut by the shortstop, he has to return to first base. Once he saw it go through, then he advanced to second base.
Bryant's 2 for 2 tonight. Let's check in back in the studio with Kevin Connors.
Hey, Matt, Cubs and Cardinals fans know they're going to be watching the Brewers all year, and the incredible season Christian Yelich is having continues. 19 of his 24 homers so far this season have come in Milwaukee, and then that's Mike Moustakas. 10th home run against the Pirates since joining the Brewers last season. 5-2, the Brewers beat the Bucks.
Yeah, Kevin, Milwaukee finishes out the sweep. Christian Yelich had never hit more than 11 before an All-Star break, and he's sitting on 24.
But what an amazing pickup for the Brewers. Great trade.
Here's Anthony Rizzo now with 1 out and 1 on. You know, I hate how everybody's kind of buying into this juiced ball theory. Take a look at Yelich's numbers. I mean, you're talking about defending the MVP trophy in America's Dairyland. It seems like every time a guy has a big year, there's got to be the Oliver Stone scandal theorist out there saying, oh, the ball's juiced. Oh, he's using a loaded bat. Oh, he's doing this, that, or the other. Can't we just enjoy this? I love the fact that we're seeing a lot of homers this year.
When it comes to anything juice, Matt, I'm going to defer to somebody else. I love the home runs. I love the way they're going out of the park. But and these guys, they're so good, Jessica. They're so good, and they're good kids, good young men, and I'm having fun watching them.
Well, I just look at the way, if you're taking Christian Yelich, watch how he swings the bat. Watch how he plays the game. Yes, the ball's flying out of the park, but shoot, look at his swing. I mean, it's not like he's taking half swings and the ball's flying. I mean, it's a beautiful thing to watch people in their prime. And watching Christian Yelich right now play the game, Cody Bellinger, I mean, there's so many. I mean, Anthony Rizzo has been on this hot streak, and he's been doing this for years. But when you're watching guys do their thing at the height of it, it's just a beautiful thing to watch.
And Jess, going from probably one of the most difficult places to hit in the National League in Marlins Park to going to one of the best in Brewers Park, what it does to you mentally and emotionally coming to the yard every day, it's incredible.
Counts 2 balls and no strikes to Anthony Rizzo, who drove in a run on the first out in front of a breaking ball that time. You know, for Anthony Rizzo, 2-time Gold Glove Award winner, 3-time All-Star. He is tied for the Cubs' lead in homers and RBIs. Leads the team outright in OPS. And is on a pace for his 5th consecutive 100-plus RBI season. Only Ernie Banks and Sammy Sosa have had more 100-plus RBI campaigns as a Cub. And it's an anniversary of sorts for Anthony tonight.
Made his debut 8 years ago today. And the career that he has had that's still going, the leadership that he's brought to this Cubs team. But also just his approach defensively and offensively, very aggressive. He crowds the plate. He crowds hitters as a first baseman. I mean, look at how on the plate. And he scoots up. That's what's crazy. Is he's seeing a heavy dose of curveballs right now from Wainwright. So he's slowly moving up and up and up, further and further on the plate. And as he gets to 2 strikes, yes, he'll choke up. But, I mean, you think about, watch the strike zone right now. he is eliminated for Adam Wainwright. Pretty much anything inside, either it's going to hit him, especially how he hovers over the plate. If you're Adam Wainwright, you've got to go almost middle away.
2-2 the count to Anthony Rizzo. On the ground for Wong. The shortstop covering for one. The relay, and they turn the double play. Well executed by the Cardinals on a tough chance.
Cardinals baseball.
Nothing despite the 1-out single. And we played 3 complete to the tune of a 1-1 tie.
We're back at Wrigley Field. Cubs and Cardinals side 1-1. Mike Schilt, the Cardinals manager. Your run was set up by a sacrifice bunt from Dexter Fowler. How did that play happen? What did you ask for?
Yeah, Dexter sees the field. He needs to get him over, and took a good pass on him, fouled it off, said, may not get a good pitch like that again. I got to play the game, get him over, and then Colton gets him in.
Adam Wainwright threw well against the Cubs last week. He's throwing well against them again tonight. What are you seeing in him?
Yeah, more of the same location. Curveball's there, cutter's there, fastball to both sides of the plate, making pitches, doing what he does.
Mike, thanks. Matt, back to you.
Yeah, Buster, thanks. Doing what he does. Manager's way of not trying to take credit for anything that's happening on the field. But Mike Schultz has had such a good beginning to his managerial career, one that's not even a full season old. Took over after the break last year for Mike Matheny. Marcell Ozuna leads things off in the St. Louis fourth. Ozuna, Fowler, and Wong for the Cardinals.
Matty, for Mike Schultz, it's going to take 3 years to really appraise what he brings to the table. So far, he's off to a great start, but this is not his team. This is not something he inherited. This. It's going to take him a while to get the Cardinals to where he wants it. So patience for Cardinals Nation.
Leadoff hitters aboard as we remind you ESPN's telecast of Sunday Night Baseball presented by Taco Bell is brought to you by Mazda. Feel alive. Does anyone else hear the theme to Married with Children, Love and Marriage by Frank Sinatra when they see that fountain?
Yes.
I don't, but I know what you're talking about this time.
You do?
Yes. You're hitting the 90s now.
I'm gradually getting more contemporary in my references.
Kind of. I mean, still 20 years ago.
I'm going to shock you someday and drop some Jonas Brothers on you and DJ Khaled and all the things the kids are listening to.
I love Al Bundy. It's my favorite.
Oh.
There's Dexter Fowler now with the leadoff hitter aboard. Marcell Ozuna has a couple of hits tonight for the Cardinals. Chris Bryant a pair of hits for Chicago and a 1-1 tie early tonight.
And I like this matchup here for Dexter Fowler. I like how he set the momentum early. It's like making a layup early in the game in basketball. The nice bunt. Now you're in a good position. You feel good. Stroke it.
0-2 to Fowler.
I do feel like this is where advantage Kyle Hendricks, though. And Mike Schilt actually said it perfectly to us, that it's such a comfortable at bat. This is what he sees from the Cardinals' perspective. You get up there, and if you look at Dexter Fowler, you look at these hitters, they're not intimidated. I mean, Kyle Hendricks is not going to intimidate you. And even the way that he throws, it has this BP feel to it. But because he can hit his spots and sequence his pitches, he ends up getting swings and misses and outs.
What was it, a couple weeks ago, guys, when we had Hendricks on, an evaluator from another team told us that when he watches him pitch, he wants to grab a bat. That's how comfortable it looks?
Yeah, Buster, and I'm sorry, Jess, but they said the same thing about Jamie Moyer, and all he did was win, win, win. And he did it till he was 47 years old. Sometimes, as you see strike 3 there, sometimes hitters get a little bit too comfortable, and that plays into Hendricks' hand. And you'll see a fat backdoor cutter here, boom, and it's a good pitch. You know, Fowler's trained to think that ball's going to sink, and this one didn't. It stayed right there. It cut a little bit, and it stayed right on plane. It's deceptive to the hitter. That's exactly what happened with Fowler right there. Strike 3. Nice call by Tripp Gibson.
So 1 out, 1 on now for Colton Wong, who takes a strike. Wong in 22 games against the Cubs since the start of last year has a .333 batting average. There goes Ozuna, got a big jump. Throw down is in. Time to get him, however. Wilson Contreras gets 33% of the would-be thieves, and that number will go up a little bit after that.
It does not get any better than Wilson Contreras. A terrific jump, a running start by Ozuna, and an absolute bazooka, and an all-star tag by Baez. Joe Madden calls him the best tagger he's ever seen. The no-look, Magic Johnson, no-look tag.
I know where you're at.
Wong on the next pitch lifts a pop for the left side of the infield. And just like that, what looked like the beginnings of a rally with a leadoff single goes away. Javi Baez will lead things off in the bottom of the 4th. The MLB Ballpark app will complete your next visit to your favorite ballpark. Buy and manage tickets, redeem special check-in offers, access exclusive content, and much more. Download the MLB Ballpark app today. Did you get a free bowl of soup with that hat? What is that? What do we got going on? Some weird construction themed thing happening. All right, I'm in. I like it. Javi Baez leads things off in the Chicago half of the fourth. Baez, Gonzalez, and Contreras here for the Cubbies.
A wild swing at a curveball. Should get a couple more breaking balls here from Wainwright.
One in the dirt to make it a ball and a strike. 9 RBIs in Baez's last 6 games, all on the homestand. And I love that note. First player in Major League history with at least 75 hits and 75 Ks in the first 60 games of a season. He is not only a physical anomaly because he can contort his body to do things that the mere mortal wouldn't dream of. He is a statistical oddity as well. Wainwright strikes him out. You could really break down Javi Baez's season into thirds. Red hot through May 19th. We saw him on Sunday Night Baseball on May 20th when he hurt his heel, and then he went through a lull for about 2.5 weeks. But since June 3rd, he's back to being same old Javi Baez with an OPS over 1,200 in that span.
Matt, to your point about being an anomaly, almost like Kobe Bryant, he can go 0 for 20, and yet on the 21st shot, he's still very confident. Baez is the same way. He's rare where he's young, talented. He can strike out 5 times like he did earlier this year, come out the next day and hit 2 home runs.
Here's Carlos Gonzalez now with 1 away.
The ultimate predator and is always in attack mode.
By the way, that strikeout for Wainwright of Baez was the first by a Cardinals starter since Friday. It's a base hit for Cargo. So 1 out, 1 on for Wilson Contreras.
And Ozuna, who gets a terrific jump here. We'll see Wilson Contreras. This is 1-8. Hendricks very slow there, 1-4-5 with a great running jump. You would think it would easy base for Ozuna. Well, think again. Changeup blown away, not an easy pitch to throw, and then a bazooka right over the top.
What was the finger thing?
That must have been a camera. I don't know.
No,
take a picture.
Stopwatch.
Oh, was that is that what it was?
Oh,
I think it's a stopwatch.
yeah, timing.
What you're just saying.
See, you're younger. We're thinking that's a picture.
He's like, clock it. 1-8. Alex is talking about it in the booth.
Yeah.
Clock it now.
Like it.
They love it.
Either that or he's doing like a Senior Wences impersonation.
Hello.
You know, when we talk about pop time with Wilson Contreras, Buster, that's not the only time involved in the improvement of his overall game.
That's exactly right. When you talk to the Cubs staff, they talk about how he's done such a great job of slowing down just about everything in his game, including his at-bats, which now take an average of 26.9 seconds. That is the 11th slowest in the National League, and for someone with so much adrenaline the way Contreras has, it seems to be helping him. This is what the Cubs staff really believes, that he's benefited from the fact, whether it's as a catcher or making decisions as a base runner, making decisions as a hitter, slowing the game down has helped to make him better.
Absolutely, Buster, because he is somebody, you're right, he plays emotional. And Joe Madden, the Cubs, they love the emotion because it allows him to be great, but there's times when you do need to settle that down, especially within an at-bat. And he's someone that's totally evolved from wanting to look up to other catchers, wanting to be like others that he's watched. He had a great quote earlier this season. I used to watch a lot of those guys, Posey, Molina, but now I'm watching myself because I know that I'm going to be better than them. That's my plan. That's my mindset. I mean, think about that evolution of confidence we've seen with Contreras the last 3 years.
And nobody loves to play more than Contreras. He's old school in that way. He wants to play every day. If he can catch 162, he will. And that is a commodity that's rare. A guy that wants to play every day, a catcher, is unheard of. I played with a guy in Pudge Rodriguez who would literally almost go into the manager's office and fight if he didn't play 5, 6, 10 games in a row. Contreras is the same way.
One out, one on for him in the fourth, and a tie game. Well, we are about, just about a month away from the All-Star game in Cleveland. Wilson Contreras was a first-time All-Star last year. As you take a look at K-Zone 3D, a ball that just catches the corner. After being named to the All-Star team last year, Contreras' numbers took kind of a dive. That was purely coincidental. It had nothing to do with being an All-Star.
Should be running here.
And he is. A swing and miss by Contreras. Throw down to second base is in time for the strike him out, throw him out, double play. Rookie backstop making just his second big league start. Able to throw out a would-be thief and keep it 1-1.
We're back at Wrigley Field. Cubs Cardinals 1-1. Joe Madden, we saw you talking with Chris Bryant after he rolled his ankle in that first inning. What did he tell you, and how limited is he?
He wouldn't tell me anything. He said he was fine. He was going to be okay. He's had issues with his ankle in the past, and when he tells me he's going to be fine, I believe we got it taped up now.
Now, we saw Wilson Contreras after he threw out the last runner at second base. He looked over to the dugout and gave one of these clicks with his hand. What's that about?
I have no idea. I didn't even see that one that time. But how about the tag by Hobby? He let the ball travel all the way to second base, and that's a big reason why the runner was out, too.
Joe, thanks. Back to you, Matt.
You know, Buster, Jess, Alex, Joe's becoming pretty good at the Buck Showalter school of manager questions. When you're asked a question and you get, yeah, but what about this? And then you take it exactly where you want to go.
He's a pro.
Harrison Bader leads things off in the St. Louis half of the fifth. Bader, Kisner, and then Wainwright to pitcher's spot in the fifth inning. A 1-1 ball game tonight. Both Kyle Hendricks and Adam Wainwright have been up to task in this series finale, and it's 1-1 to Bader. 2 strikeouts for Hendricks tonight. He's allowed the run earned on 3 hits. Check that, 4 hits against Hendricks this evening. And it's 1-2 to Bader.
Bader loves leading off, even going back to his Florida Gator days. He's flirted with leadoff spot even in a Cardinals uniform, but leading off an inning, batting .333. He's talked about him, just knowing his personality. He is an igniter. He is someone that kind of relishes in these scenarios. Except for when you're caught looking and fastball up and away.
That's 3 strikeouts for Hendricks tonight. Hey, you bring up his Florida days, talking about Bader. Reminds us that the College World Series starts on ESPN on Saturday, and there are 4 players on the field in this game tonight with College World Series experience, starting with Andrew Miller in '06, lost in the championship game that year at Oregon State. Michael Walker with Texas A&M in 2011. Kyle Schwarber with Indiana, and then Bader with the Gators in 15.
I was talking to Schwarber pregame about his days at Indiana. I was there in 2013 when he was playing. He's such a puppy then too. He's so young, and he's like, I never played in front of more than 3,000 fans in my life. At the time, Indiana had a sold-out crowd of 3,000. And he said going to Omaha, it was 25,000 people. And he's like, I just had never experienced anything like that in my life before. And now, of course, here at Wrigley.
I mean, he wasn't that far removed from his Indiana days when he took the world by storm in 2016 in the World Series, coming back from the knee surgery that everybody thought was going to cost him an entire season. And he was such a force. He made such an impact in the postseason that year.
I almost feel like that image, that hype, though, hurt him so much in the years that followed, and kind of the up and downs that we've seen. Because he came through, and yes, he's a power guy. He hits the ball so hard, but he was even telling Alex and I pregame, I just got caught up in hitting underneath the ball so much.
Oh, Wainwright into left center field. That's going to split the gap. Adam Wainwright can hit. Don't sleep on the number 9 spot in the order. The only active pitcher in baseball with more homers than that guy is Madison Bumgarner.
Yeah, Waino takes a fastball middle right here, 87 miles an hour. A cookie. Boom. Great swing, nice and tight. And a little four-seamer right down the middle. Short, compact by the 6'7" right-handed pitcher. Boom.
Look at these guys. That little College World Series theme in there.
I love it. I love it.
Did you guys see how cool Wainwright looked sliding into second base? Like he does it every day or something like that? The way he looked back at the dugout.
Here's Matt Carpenter now.
And if you're the Cardinals, it's going to take probably 2 hits to get a run. Don't expect a base hit here to score Wainwright.
I love that we forget that these guys did play regular positions at some point in their life. Pitchers are almost this anomaly. It's like, wait, they can run, they can slide, and it's so true because so many do look awkward doing it. So when you see one that can, you remember that, you know what, every pitcher was once a position player, was once someone that hit and ran the bases and slid.
They always say, act like you've been there before. Man, did he do it right there.
0-2 the count to Matt Carpenter with Wainwright at second, and 2 gone in the inning.
Of course, he did give him a look a little bit later, like, I'm a little bit out of gas.
Take a couple pitches, Matt. Buy me some time. That one's bounced up the first base line. Rizzo isn't going to get there in time. There was some miscommunication as to whether Hendricks was going to come and field a throw or not, and everybody's safe.
Very, very strange for Hendricks, the Dartmouth grad, to make a mental mistake. There's a nice play by Rizzo. He just doesn't get off. He probably thinks this ball's foul, and he misjudged it. This is a base hit, but it should be an error on the pitcher. It won't be marked that, but that's a mental mistake for Hendricks. Very rare. Little Omaha College World Series. Cafecito's on fire. Look for him to pinch hit later. He should be warm.
Surprised he's doing antics behind the interview with Buster and Mike Schilt.
So here's DeYoung now. First pitch, a hot shot for Bryant. And with some help, Hendricks gets out of the tight spot. Runners left stranded at the corners. We've reached the midway point tonight at Wrigley Field. Locked up in a 1-1 tie. Welcome back to Sunday Night Baseball on ESPN. This telecast is presented by Taco Bell. A reminder to help send your favorite All-Stars to Cleveland with the 2019 Google MLB All-Star ballot. New this year after the first ballot, the primary, if you will. The top 3 players at each position will advance to a special starters election. Vote at MLB.com/vote and on Google by searching for your favorite player or MLB Vote. Jason Hayward, Kyle Hendricks, and David Bodie here in the Chicago half of the 5th. I always like to play the guessing game in any given matchup. Who are going to be the All-Stars? So from this one, from the Cubs and Cardinals.
Contreras.
Okay.
Baez.
Okay.
Rizzo.
Okay.
DeYoung, if he gets hot again. He's a shot, shortstop.
Hendricks.
Yep, I'm agreeing with all of it so far.
Who's the first baseman? I mean, that's where it's kind of fun looking at all the good NL guys. And Goldie hasn't even gotten hot, so he's not even really in the conversation, although you put his name there. But Anthony Rizzo.
Josh Bell or Freddie Freeman?
Yeah, it's a good guess. I mean, it's a very deep list. You got to put Goldie in for consideration just because he's gone for 6 straight years. Pete Alonso, don't sleep on a rookie with 21 dingers. Hoskins in Philly. I agree with Buster. I think Bell and Freeman are locks, and Rizzo probably goes as well.
Josh Bell. Impressive young man. Big time power.
Got to get him in the Derby. Got to get him in the Derby.
And Pete Alonso. I'd love to see Big Pete.
And Jason Hayward's 2 for 2. Man, he has had 2 really nice plate appearances against Adam Wainwright in this game.
And Manny, that's an important at bat there. Now you get the fastball and you belt it right where the shortstop should be. Throws it away, hits it away. And again, very handsy, very fluid. The change of the grip, he had that reverse wrap. More hands, backside just like you mentioned last time. And as a leadoff hitter, when you're hitting 8th, this is like actually when you're hitting 7th, this is like an automatic double because the bunt is in play. And the Cubs are in position. Here comes the bunt.
Both hits tonight from Jason Hayward on that 4-seam fastball. I mentioned it earlier, over 300 against fastballs, 150 against non-fastballs, but he worked the count to get back to the fastball. Fouled off the curveball that he really didn't want any part of.
Hendricks shows the bunt and pushes it foul. Kyle delivered the sacrifice in the second. Just the second time in the game the Cubs have had their leadoff hitter aboard. Previously it happened in the first, and that's the inning they scored their run. Hendricks has a perfect bunt laid down.
He's putting on a clinic, and I know it's bunting, right? So you're sitting at home and you're like, it's a sacrifice bunt. How hard is it? Let's go across Major League Baseball and see all the times that pitchers miss doing just that. I get it. When you're 6, 7 years old and you're learning how to play the game, this is something you learn to do. But I feel like guys don't know how to do it anymore. And Kyle Hendricks has done it now twice tonight, deadening the ball, not just getting it down, but doing it in a way you see his fingers up the barrel of the bat to help deaden it. You see where he gets it, the placement. It's still an art. We get geeked up about hitting. I get geeked up about any player that can execute a bunt.
And we've talked about how bunting is a lost art, Jessica, and the difference between a good playoff team and a championship team is the ability to bunt.
But you have to do it during the regular season. And that's the difference, Alex. I see so many teams that don't do it throughout the regular season. And all of a sudden it becomes the postseason and you're facing the best pitching, the best everything. And now you're asked to put the ball in play, to be able to lay down a bunt. And guys can't do it because they haven't done it in the regular season.
I would always tell our players, the regular season is a dress rehearsal for the postseason. You have to do it right during the season to have the confidence to try it in October. The problem is managers and front offices, they want teams to play one style of baseball for the marathon. And when the most important sprint starts, which is the postseason, they want to play a different brand. It doesn't work.
David Bodie flied out in the second. Two plate appearances for David. Both have come with a runner in scoring position, and this time he cashes in. Back that Bodie up. 2-1 Chicago.
David Bodie I spoke to him right before the game, and he said, I am going to see all curveballs and all sliders. What he calls slider, which is Walker's cutter. Here's the curveball, though. He's sitting. How can you tell he's sitting? Look at his body. Watch the way he doesn't even move for anything faster than 75. He's sitting on this thing like it's on a tee. This is when you guess, and you guess correctly, because look at where he makes contact. Normally, against a Wainwright curveball, you're going to see any hits way off the front side or a swing and miss, but Bodie guessed correctly there, and he was sitting on 75.
Good homestand continues for David Bodie. Cubs have their one-run lead back and a runner aboard for Kyle Schwarber.
And again, it's the thing that's going to be overlooked in this inning is the perfect textbook bunt executed by Kyle Hendricks. And you do not have to get them all at once. You get one per inning, one every other inning. That's a good offense, and that plays well now and in October. I love it.
Cubs don't run much. In fact, their 16 stolen bases is the fewest in the National League. Wainwright just wanted Bodie to know he hadn't forgotten about him. You know, and if we're lamenting the disappearance of the sacrifice bunt, we can do the same on the stolen base, because we're on a pace for the fewest stolen bases as a league since 1971. And for context, in 1971 there were only 24 teams in the league, and most of them were still wearing wool uniforms. I mean, that was a forever ago.
It's my rookie season.
Well, and a lot of that is analytics. I mean, Alex, the reason why bunting has gone away and we've seen that art start to die off is because numbers, and I'm not saying that they're always right, numbers show you that by advancing a runner to second base, let's say no outs, the percentages of them scoring actually lessen once you get to one out.
Schwarber with a rocket into right center. Bodie's being waved around. 3-1 Chicago.
I mean, there's so much to like here for the Cubs this inning offensively. You'll see the breaking ball here. Just a 12-6. Again, sitting all over it, Schwarber. Very confident, fluid swing, and great follow through. And then Bodie, the base running, outstanding. And Brian Butterfield, the third base coach, never wavered, coming all the way down. You see him at the bottom of your screen. And he's one of the best in the business, and he's coming, and he's coming, and he's coming. Outstanding offensive baseball by the Cardinals. Hitting, lining, bunting, and scoring. October baseball in June at Wrigley.
Guys, we talked about how Adam Wainwright threw really well against the Cubs last week. 126 pitches. Question for you guys, a pitcher who relies on off-speed stuff, to see him 2 times in the span of 8 days.
Yes.
Big advantage. Buster, he might be hurt here. Here comes the training staff. And again, a reminder, last start, 126 pitches, and he is 37. So there is a residual and is a -1 for the next few starts.
That's it. That's all for Wainwright with nobody up in the bullpen. So Adam is leaving the game in an injury capacity. Giovanni Gallegos had just gotten up. So Gallegos will have as much time as he needs to get hot, and that's all for Wainwright in the 5th. We'll be right back. Well, here's how it unraveled for Adam Wainwright in the 5th. A 2-strike count that got away from him when Hayward singled. Hendricks laid down his second perfect sacrifice of the night. Bodie singles. A run crosses. And then Kyle Schwarber, the well-hit ball into right center field to drive in the second run of the inning and drive Adam Wainwright from the mound. 3-1 Chicago as the Cardinals are into the bullpen for the first time, and Schwarber sits at second base with only one away. Part of the order due up for Chicago as we remind you to Major League Baseball action is always live with MLB At Bat. Follow your team's action with game tracking and video highlights, up to the moment stats, standings, news, and more. Get the #1 app for live baseball. Download MLB At Bat today. Right-hander Giovanni Gallegos takes over here in the 5th.
It's a fastball slider. Numbers 3.46. A big swing and miss guy, though. He 40% strikeout percentage, has struck out a batter 19 of his last 22 appearances. And look at that whip. Very efficient with his pitches. He's going to light up that strike zone.
And slider is his money pitch.
Tall order for him here to try to strand a runner in scoring position with less than 2 out. And the 2 big beefy hitters for the Cubs, Bryant and Rizzo, with a chance. So again, it was the trainer that came out and removed Adam Wainwright. If there is a health report on him, certainly Buster will unearth that. For the time being, it's a bullpen responsibility. 2 singles for Bryant tonight. He's hit safely in 9 of his last 11 as a fastball swung on and missed. Limited sample size, but some success against Giovanni Gallegos. Late on another fastball.
Chris Bryant is all over Adam Wainwright. Again, that's 88, 89 miles an hour on the fastball. Those were both of his hits. One even elevated in the zone. He was all over, but now 94, 95, and Matt, that's why we're seeing a little bit later swings.
Nope. No swing on the appeal. You know, we were talking about the way the Cardinals kind of ran the game yesterday from a bullpen standpoint, Buster, and the urgency with which Mike Schilt went to his relief corps. Little different situation tonight, but he's into the bullpen a little earlier than he would have liked once again.
Oh, no question about it. And you wonder what his options are for tonight as he tries to navigate these last 4 and 2, perhaps 3 2/3 innings, depending how long this game goes.
You know, this game went very similarly to Adam Wainwright's last start here at Wrigley a month plus ago, when he kind of cruised through the first portion of the game. But over the span of the final 8 hitters he faced, the Cubs scored 4 runs against him, and it all kind of unraveled for him quickly tonight.
Also, when you're a finesse pitcher, and that's what Wainwright is at this point in his career, he's 37 years old. There's no more secrets, and the creativity goes away because the Cubs have seen you so many times. The breaking ball doesn't fool you as much. The cutter, you see it. There's no intimidation factor. So advantage Cubs, and you've seen that early on in this game.
Bryant lifts a high fly ball out to shallow center. Bader and DeYoung try to pick it out of the fog. 2 gone.
It'll be interesting to see if he winds up using Michael Wacha in relief in this game. He's pitched once since May 29th. He has struggled historically at Wrigley Field, but he certainly, as Schilt tries to figure out how he's going to get through these last outs of this game, Michael Wacha is an option for him.
Yeah, 5 relievers had to work yesterday behind Jack Flaherty, who was unable to finish 4 innings. So once again into that pen early tonight, and now it's Rizzo. Anthony drove in a run with a ground ball in the first and then grounded into a double play. He takes a strike.
And this is a situation that a lot of teams are going to have to face. You have the right-hander on the mound with Rizzo with a base open. Do you rather pitch to Rizzo or the wild swinging Baez? In the postseason is a much easier call than in the regular season. And if you're a guy that has a great slider, you call it a John Smoltz or a David Cone, you obviously are going to pitch around Rizzo to go make sure that Baez has an opportunity to fish and get himself out. The teams that do really well in October are the teams that can control the strike zone and not chase. You're also facing 1, 2s, and 3s, and 8th and 9th inning guys, closers.
Rizzo to deep center field. Boy, nothing's cutting through that thick fog tonight.
That ball was smoked.
Wow. Off the bat, I thought he was going to knock down the scoreboard. Kyle Schwarber contributing into a 2-run rally that's given the Cubs a 3-1 lead. Three to 1 Chicago. Some of the statues commemorating the all-time greats outside Wrigley Field. With that note, we send it down to Buster for tonight's filibuster question.
The poll question for this week: among these 4 current members of the Cubs, who's most likely to eventually have a statue outside of Wrigley Field? Javier Baez, Chris Bryant, Joe Madden, or Anthony Rizzo? Runaway guys. Anthony Rizzo at 40%. I think it should be a statue of that moment when he registers the last out 2016 World Series. What do you think?
That's a good one. I say it should be the moment where he decided to challenge the entire Cincinnati Reds roster by bull rushing the dugout in 2014.
Just dropping the glove. The glove somehow is suspended, right?
I'll take you all on. 25 versus 1, and I got you outnumbered. Paul Goldschmidt leads things off in the St. Louis half of the 6th and sends one into right center field. Goldschmidt leads off the 6th with a 2-base hit for St. Louis.
And Goldie, Hendricks has gotten him out twice on fastballs. The 3rd time a charm for Goldie. Ready this time for the fastball. Foot down in position to hit. And look as he attached the baseball versus being attacked.
Only his 5th double, Alex, of the season. A guy who just lives on doubles. A bat we talked about off the top that absolutely has to get going. You know it's there, and there he's showcasing it. The big double to start the 6th.
Amazing that was his first double in 88 at-bats. Amazing because he's the only player in the big leagues with at least 30 doubles in each of the last 7 seasons, as you see.
much better approach that time. And with Hendricks, you can't let him lull you to sleep with a changeup and the overhand curveball. You have to think fastball and attack him like that.
Marcell Ozuna has his 3rd hit of the ball game. And here come the Cardinals with the tying runs on base and nobody out in the inning.
3rd hit there for Ozuna. First 2 on fastballs. This is a 78-mile-an-hour changeup and his worst one of the night. Lucky it wasn't a home run, but again, attacking the ball on top of the baseball.
Lost his whole bat.
And the bat died a winner.
You see bats crack, but Bixby holding on to like 4 inches of it. But it's a win if it's a hit.
The Cards are set up.
Dexter Fowler has sacrificed and has been caught looking at strike 3 tonight. So Hendricks, with runners at the corners and nobody out, is going to have to reach deep into his bag of tricks to get out of this jam. Buster, do you have an update on Adam Wainwright?
Yeah, the Cardinals say that Adam Wainwright was removed from the game with left hamstring tightness. I'm sure he'll be asked by reporters afterward. Was that something that occurred when he hit that double?
Yeah, that would be the logical kind of line of thinking. That's the only time you really had to put it into gear tonight. Shilton Maddox have to go to the bullpen early for a 3rd straight night in the series. Miles Michaelis went only 4 on Friday. 3 2/3 from Flaherty yesterday, and an early departure by Wainwright tonight. That's a tough way to win when your starters give you 12 innings in a 3-game series. Fowler bounces to first. Rizzo's coming home, where they've got the out on Goldschmidt.
I mean, this is such an incredible play. And one out of the book of a Keith Hernandez. The confidence to come home when you have basically a routine double play there. But the confidence, strike, and keeps the game 3-1. And the double play is still in order. A rocket. I mean, that's a 3rd baseman's arm at first base. And the confidence to make that throw, 9 out of 10 first basemen are taking the out, the easy out, not that one.
Was there any doubt in either of your minds that he was coming home with that ball? I mean, I had written it down before he even threw it.
Manny, the only reason I thought he would go 2, because in that situation, if you're the home team Cubs, you would trade a double play for a run. But again, the confidence is off the charts to be able to throw home without a force and still get the play, and it was a strike.
1 out, 1st and 2nd now for Colton Wong. And Wong slugs a fly ball into center field. There are 2 away. Hey, let me have you look at the end of this play, Alex, and tell me why for Wilson Contreras this did not constitute impeding the runner's path to home plate. This is the end of the play to get Goldschmidt. Rizzo comes home. There's no lane. He's got the leg out, man. That's old school Mike Scioscia stuff there.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
He kicks it out right there.
I mean, the runner has nowhere to go there. And if the new rules play there and there's nowhere to go, then that's, advantage Cardinals. But obviously, the Cardinals never argued.
Breaking ball misses to Harrison Bader.
The biggest thing, Matt, was Contreras, once he had the ball, then you can get in the way. It's before you get the ball. If you were to kick his foot out and impede the runner, then you're talking about he's safe at home. But Contreras actually caught the ball, then kicked his leg out, which he's allowed to do.
Well, the home plate collision rule is challengeable.
He catches it right there.
And Jess make a good point. He's got possession of the ball there.
Now, if he does that and he's still waiting for the throw from Rizzo, no way.
But then the question is, can you run him over? Because that's the only way you can score, and you're not going to just concede the out, right?
And the answer is yes. The answer is yes, you're allowed to in that situation.
Well, that's why when that rule was put into place, it was so controversial, because base runners really didn't know if any contact was allowable.
Well, and honestly, Goldie there, and he was out by so much, but I think if that's a closer play, we see more of a collision, but he just white flagged it there at the end once he saw Contreras had the ball.
And Jess, I think that your phrase there is exactly right. The white flagging of that play, I think that's what runners basically do now, and slides into second base and plays that don't play like that, even though they could do more.
I mean, it's such a rich part of the game. Big pitch here by Hendricks.
Chopper back to Hendricks.
Oh, wow.
Houdini Hendricks gets out of a jam. First and third and nobody out, and the Cardinals fail to score.
The professor just jumping off the mound, break out the bare hand. No doubt about it. Dartmouth crowd gets it out of a jam.
Pretty good view tonight from wherever you are at Wrigley Field, even if you're inside the scoreboard. Kyle Hendricks giving everybody a thrill, getting out of a jam in the last half inning. Runners at the corners, nobody out, and the Cardinals failed to score. So Baez, Gonzalez, and Contreras will try to add to the 2-run lead in the bottom of the 6th. 1-1.
It is amazing how much Javier Baez will chase, and not only chase just to chase, but out of the zone. And we'll see the elevated chase at his chin. You'll see the slider low and away in the dirt. What he struck out on his last at bat.
1-2.
But then he'll connect. And the line you had earlier, Matt, about 75 strikeouts, 75 hits. I mean, that is him in a nutshell. He's going to swing and miss. It's going to happen. Gosh, can he also connect in those moments when you're like, okay, he's done. He's down 1-2.
And Jess, he's John Daly on a baseball field. He is not going to cut down. He struck out wildly in his previous at bat at a 58-foot curveball, and he swung one that he wants to hit it over the scoreboard.
Chop to third base for Carpenter, and one away to start things in the bottom of the 6th. Visit the official online shop of Major League Baseball at MLBshop.com. Find the largest selection of authentic caps, t-shirts, jerseys, hoodies, collectibles, and more. Commemorate your favorite team at MLBshop.com. Hoodies have almost become like the required fashion statement of major league managers these days.
I was going to say, Aaron Boone owns him some hoodie. He is all about wearing it all the time. Even he'll do the cutoff hoodie.
Yeah, it's a fashion statement that Bill Belichick started about a decade and a half ago.
Yeah. Little did he know what he was getting us all into.
Belichick and fashion statement
That's
went
right.
in the same sentence.
That's right.
Joe's just got the old-fashioned jacket on tonight.
He's got the hoodie there.
Oh, he does.
He knows. He's hip.
0-1 the count to Carlos Gonzalez. I would like to see a manager break ranks at some point this year and rock the suit.
Right, Connie Mack.
The Connie Mack, the Spalding suit. Cargo swings and misses wildly, and there are 2 away.
Good riding fastball there, 95 miles an hour. Good late movement. You see the tail right at the end right here. Boom. And after seeing Wainwright for 4 or 5 innings, 95 here, it looks like 105 right by him.
And Gallegos doing a nice job of going right. You see that run on the fastball, but then going left with the slider.
2 gone, bases empty for Wilson Contreras, who is hitless tonight. Had been 5 for his last 15 at the start of the game.
Man, he talked about how deep the Cubs are. They have a great luxury. When you look at their lineup, from Schwarber all the way down is lefty, righty, lefty, righty, lefty, righty, all the way down until you get to Kyle Hendricks. And that's a handful for the opposing managers.
Well, think about who's not starting tonight for the Cubs. Addison Russell, who was one of the most important players when they made the World Series run in 2016. Albert Almora Jr., who's a former first-rounder, multi-dimensional player. And then the 2 utility guys, Victor Caratini, the backup catcher, and Daniel Descalso. They are very deep, to your point, Alex.
And this is a team that lost one of their everyday starters in Ben Zobrist, who's no longer with the team. I mean, if you think about the diversity, I mean, he's your MVP of the World Series. You talk about a major cog in this team, and they really haven't skipped a beat.
Oh, and 2 on Wilson Contreras. Giovanni Gallegos came in for Adam Wainwright with 1 away and 2 runs in the 5th. He has since retired all 4 batters he's faced. His spot in the order is due up 2nd in the 7th, so this might be his last man, and he ends his stint, if it is to come to an end, with a strikeout. An impressive outing for Giovanni Gallegos. Keeps it 3-1 Chicago. To the top of the 7th as we check out the Geico game track tonight. 3-1 Chicago. Cubs big picture looking for the series sweep. Home team has won every game between the Cubs and Cardinals this year. Adam Wainwright removed in the 5th. That was the big inning for Chicago in which they took the 2-run lead on go-ahead doubles by Kyle Schwarber and David Bodie. Rookie catcher Andrew Kisner leads things off in the 7th inning for St. Louis. Kisner again making just his 2nd major league start. First came a week ago on a very different feeling night between the Cubs and Cardinals, one in which Adam Wainwright was dominant. Oh, 0-2 to Kisner, looking for his first big league hit. A career .307 batter in 279 minor league games. Back to Hendricks.
And Kyle Hendricks has been the X factor so far, playing winning baseball with a couple textbook bunts leading to a couple runs there, a couple terrific barehanded plays, looking like a Gold Glove shortstop, and then 3 changeups pitching to very weak early contact. Very Greg Maddux-esque for some of the older Cubbies faithfuls.
Pinch hitter is Jairo Munoz.
And Alex, watch how he works too. I mean, the way that he'll stay facing a batter the entire time, never turning his back. You're seeing more and more pitchers do this, the psychology of it. Him standing there facing, and you'll see it even after a swing and miss. You'll see it after a foul ball. Buster, I know you talked to him yesterday about this too, but there is an entire psychology about the confidence and reading the batters.
Another broken bat. Look out for the shrapnel as Bryant handles the line shot. Man.
And Jess, I love that you're talking about reading. There's so much to read. A hitter will give you so much information by his body language, when he swings, when he takes. And Kyle Hendricks, great sinker right here. Just chews him up.
But watch him stay. Look at his eyes. Look at his head and eyes. Just stay with the batter the entire time. Watch, reads. And if this is a swing and miss, if this is a foul ball, he's locked in on everything the batter is giving him, telling him, and then he knows what pitch needs to come next based on that.
2 gone for Matt Carpenter.
I'd love to, and talking with him yesterday about that whole chess match and watching the hitter, Matt, you heard him tell us that he's worked with Wilson Contreras now for so long that, like him, Wilson Contreras is thinking 2-3 pitches ahead. That was pretty cool about the evolution of his catcher.
Yeah, he expressed a lot of value as we watch Kyle never turn his back to the hitter. He expressed all the value that you'd think in a pitcher-catcher relationship that's been together for a while. And you could bring Anthony Rizzo into that as well. Because Wilson Contreras back picks a lot, because he throws around a lot, he's very active. There's an unspoken communication between that triangle you see, Rizzo the pitcher and Contreras, that not every team really has the luxury of benefiting from. If you're turning over players as often as, say, the Mariners or one of a number of teams, you can't benefit from that kind of
feel. Because it's not just being called or planned or, hey, in this inning with 2 outs, this is what we're going to do. It's a feel. And ultimately a trust. I mean, to your point of backpicking, Wilson Contreras backpicked since 2018 110 times. The next closest catcher is 40. That's Martin Maldonado. I mean, just think about not only that on Contreras, but you're right, the trust that he has with Rizzo in the field.
And look, I played with Jeter, Matt, to your point, and all we have to do is look at each other, and we can finish each other's sentences, and we knew what we were talking about just by looking at each other. So it's real. I've lived it, and you couldn't be more right. One of the most underrated parts of the game is having stability behind the plate. When you think about some of the greats, the Gary Carters, if you think about the guy right here, Molina, It's such an important. He becomes your second pitching coach, and Contreras is getting great reviews.
And there still is that emotional piece. I mean, you will see Wilson Contreras lose it at times. And there's times it pumps up the pitcher. There's times there's emotion you can feel. He understands and reads the moment. But he's had to grow up a lot behind the plate with his emotions, too.
Carpenter serves a fly ball out to left center field, carrying, but Hayward's there to make the catch and finish off a 1-2-3 inning for Kyle Hendricks. ESPN's telecast of Sunday Night Baseball is presented by Taco Bell. Sometimes you gotta live Moss. Cubs playing small ball tonight. They've hit for power courtesy of Kyle Schwarber when needed. And they are late in the stages of a 3-1 lead, in part made possible once again by the stinginess of Kyle Hendricks. Outstanding tonight over 7. Boy, ever since the start of May, Kyle Hendricks just refuses to lose. Jason Hayward will lead things off in the Chicago half of the 7th. How do you measure yourself against other golfers? By height, says Ty Webb, making his 24th appearance of the year tonight.
Manny, speaking of golfers, Hendricks' father was an ex-golf coach. And Hendricks, if pitching isn't enough, he's also a scratch golfer.
And he is right out of the Maddox mold, is he not?
He sure is. There's some guys you run into like Smoltz. John Smoltz, they're good at everything. Basketball, ping pong. And if not, they'll figure out a way to beat you.
Hayward to right. I mean, we have seen some contact here tonight in this game that perhaps under different conditions would have resulted in more runs. Not the case. Wet, foggy, and cool tonight.
San Francisco Bay, foggy.
London, England, fog.
Nice.
Be there in a few weeks. So will the Cardinals and Cubs next year. Just announced that they will be playing in London, England.
Nice.
10 a.m. Eastern on Sunday, June 30th from London Stadium. And this is what it looks like now as Major League Baseball prepares to put an AstroTurf field at London Stadium. First time the Red Sox and Yankees have played in a place that isn't Boston, New York, and the first time they've played on turf.
That's crazy.
It's going to be so much fun. Pitching change as Carlos Martinez prepares to enter, and we'll be right back. Tuesday on ESPN, the Mets and Yankees' Subway Series renews at 7 Eastern. Zach Wheeler duels James Paxton. The following night, Brewers and Astros at 8 Eastern. And then Thursday, the first ever Major League game played in the state of Nebraska as the Tigers and Royals play in Omaha, side of the College World Series, which begins on ESPN on Saturday. Some changes as Carlos Martinez takes over on the mound for St. Louis, making his 9th appearance of the year.
Previous starter, 3.86 ERA, now out of the pen.
Martinez summoned from the bullpen after the pinch hitter Albert Almora Jr. was announced for Chicago.
And will stay in for defense as he's a plus defender. Almora is.
Ball and 2 strikes to him. Almora with a hot shot to third. Carpenter knocks it down, recovers, nothing on the throw, and Almora's safe. I think even with a bigger throw, Almora was going to be safe at first. He runs very well.
Yeah, when a guy runs this well, once you bobble, is over. And you'll see Carpenter a little flat-footed right here. See, that ball played him. Want to get a little bit quicker and attack this ball. See, he's on his heels, and it hits the heels of his glove. And once you bobble with the fleet-footed Almora, too late.
So the error gives Chicago a 1-out base runner now in front of David Bodie, who has driven in a run with a base hit. You know, it's easy to go back and armchair quarterback when a lineup works, but Joe Madden, batting the pitcher 8th tonight, did exactly what he wanted it to do. He had Hendricks up there twice in a position to sacrifice and move a runner into scoring position, and he did it both times.
Yep.
He was able to pinch hit here, get his pitcher out of the game, and keep a rally going at the right time. And again, it's all feeding top of the order guys. What happened there?
Just threw the ball away. I mean, that ball had to be 99. Look at this throw.
I was gonna say.
Bam! Watch out. Heads up, Buster.
Buster?
I'm on the other side, thankfully.
Oh, okay. God, you scared us there for a minute.
Line 2.
Maybe it knocked you out.
Just taking stock of the people I know in the other photo well.
2 balls and a strike to count to David Bodie. I don't know how that missed Will Venable. Guillermo almost got smoked working on Deportes tonight. Cuidado. Knuckleball to first for out number 2.
Timeout.
See, Buster has full security protocols in place, including some very effective plastic netting.
Which was tested for the first time last week on an overthrow at first base, and guys, it worked. It was the first time in 6 years of having this netting. Errant throw in the Red Sox-Yankee game hit this perfect. Kenny did a great job with it.
At this pace, he'll be wearing a helmet next year.
Yeah. Will you see if Kenny's available to come over to my place and get the barn swallows away from my roof? 2 gone with a runner at third now for Kyle Schwarber. Schwarber has stayed hot tonight. A big RBI double. He scored 2 of the 3 runs. On the heels of a 2-for-4 with a homer yesterday, he has hit safely in 7 in a row. Another rocket to drive in another run. Man, is he hot.
I mean, you see a fastball right here, and boom, 94 miles an hour, 104 off the bat. And Jesse told us today there's 2 things that are the main difference. Number 1, he's not missing his pitch. He certainly didn't there. And number 2, he's got a little flatter, and you'll see that right here. And I pushed back on him. I said, what do you mean by flatter? He just said, I want this top hand to go more on top of the baseball because I was swinging underneath everything, and it's been a nice adjustment. He's looked great as of late.
Here's Chris Bryant, who's got a couple of singles tonight.
Jess, what do you think about his kind of body language and his demeanor? I thought he was great.
Well, you nailed it earlier because I swear it felt like he was always avoiding us, just nervous, like. And now he has that confidence, and it's showing up in his swing.
Cubs add on in a now 4-1 lead. Tomorrow on ESPN Plus, the A's and Rays open a 3-game series at the Trop, 7:10 Eastern, 4:10 Pacific. Start your free trial now by downloading the app or going to ESPNplus.com. A game for free every day. You can watch anywhere. Rays in a dead heat with the Yankees atop the AL East. Some defensive changes as we start the top half of the inning. Carlos Gonzalez takes over in left. Jason Hayward is bumped to right, and Albert Almora takes over in center. All this in support of Steve Cishek, who is the new pitcher for Chicago in the 8th.
And Cishek really has been the go-to for Joe Maddon. Maybe not always in the closer role, but in the more high-leverage innings. And we haven't really spoken about Craig Kimbrel being added to this bullpen. The signing earlier this week, but I feel like Steve Cishek is the one that benefits the most, because he'll be able to then be utilized, and not all the pressure is always on him. He's been kind of the #1, I feel like, for Joe Maddon these last 2 months.
Yeah, Craig Kimbrel threw a bullpen yesterday here at Wrigley Field, and then hopped on a plane and went down to the Cubs' extended spring training facilities in Arizona to continue working toward getting back into the big leagues. There's a pop into right. Handled by Bodie for the first out.
I mean, for the Cubbies, it makes here's Craig Kimbrel. I mean, this guy does a lot for this Cubby teams. We talked about in the opening, Theo Epstein bringing Chapman from the Yankees here to help them win the championship in 108 years. There's a lot of guys that are great pitching the 7th, good pitching the 8th, but won no part of the 9th. Kimbrel solidifies that 9th inning and lets everybody pitch into their slot. It gives them a lot of depth. And like Joe Maddon told us today, everybody down there is pitching really, really well, including Carl Edwards Jr., who's made some nice adjustments.
Paul Goldschmidt's heated up tonight. Base hits in each of his last 2 at-bats.
But the question is what Craig Kimbrel are you going to get? I mean, all the stuff we've shown over his career, clearly one of the best closers we've seen in the game. But last year, his numbers changed dramatically. His K rate, his walk rate went up, his K rate went down, his ERA, definitely a huge difference. And what we saw from him in the postseason was someone that lacked the command. Now, the stuff was still there. But who's Craig Kimbrel in 2019? That's yet to be seen.
Jed Hoyer and Theo Epstein finalizing the 3-year, $43 million deal with the guy who can rightfully be called one of the best closers of all time. Yes, the resume is that good.
Very rarely in the middle of the season you get a guy with that type of talent who just won a world championship to add to your clubhouse. It makes everybody in there happy, and you don't have to give anything else besides resources.
This was his first bullpen in a Cubs uniform yesterday afternoon. Everybody was watching. You can't see him in the shot necessarily, but those that weren't watching it down there were looking at it on the monitors. Cubs were pleased with it. Kimbrel himself was pleased with it as Ozuna strikes out for out number 2.
Well, Matty, I can tell you from personal experience being in that clubhouse and what it means to the Cubs. And what it means is that Tom Ricketts, the owner, Theo Epstein, all the way from the top, is signaling to 25 players and this whole fan base, we're all in again. We won in 2016, we smell it, and we're going to go out and make the financial sacrifice to go out and win the 2nd championship in about 111 years.
And guys, when I talked with executives with other teams who are interested in Kimbrel, they did not want to extend to a 3rd year the way the Cubs did, because they had concerns about what they saw in the second half in the postseason when he walked 8 and 10 2/3. But some of them said it was a good deal for the Cubs because their farm system isn't as robust as it used to be. Alex, you mentioned all they had to give up was cash in this deal in order to bring Kimbrel in to make their team better, understanding that during the summer, as the conversations take place about relievers, a lot of teams are in a better position to make trades of prospects than they are.
And Buster, as you have written about on ESPN.com, the price for making a deal for a closer this year might be significantly higher than what the Cubs or other teams are willing to pay.
That's right, because there are going to be a bunch of high-end relievers who are going to be talked about who are under team control beyond this year.
Dexter Fowler bunts, foul.
And, for example, Brad Hand of the Cleveland Indians, who's been outstanding so far. Some teams, I think, are going to call the Pirates about Felipe Vasquez. Sean Doolittle of the Washington Nationals, if the Nationals decide to sell. And a lot of the contending teams are in a much better position to make trades of prospects for relievers like that than the Cubs are. The Cubs just use their extra cash to go get Craig Kimbrell.
Cash is king, if you will. And the 2-2 is looked at for a called strike 3. A couple of strikeouts wrap up a scoreless 8th for Steve Cishek. Still 4-1 Chicago. Sports Center right after Sunday Night Baseball with Kenny Mayne and John Buccigross. Max Muncy's words for Madison Bumgarner. That was a lot of fun today. Plus Kevin Durant's status, and Steph Curry sits down with Rachel Nichols ahead of Game 5. And Steve Levy and Barry Melrose with the Blues on the verge of their first Stanley Cup. Sports Center after Cubs and Cardinals on ESPN and the ESPN app.
Oh,
you're right,
yes.
young man. You are right about that.
Look at all the ice cream they've blown through. Demolished.
Good luck on the ride home, parents.
I know, right? That's a sugar high.
Anthony Rizzo starts things in the 8th inning for Chicago. Rizzo, Baez, and Gonzalez. This series has continued to trend, not only with the home team winning every game in the Cubs-Cardinals meetings this year, but in terms of this weekend, Mike Schilt's lineup and their inability to generate much of anything. Short starts. Two things that make it awfully tough to win.
The Cards have shaked hands once today with a Dexter Fowler bunt. And that's not quite enough. They need to get the leadoff and the second hitter going. Goldie has shown good signs today, but it means nothing if the bases are always empty.
Doesn't it feel like the Cardinals are still looking for their identity, even though we're into June now? Like still trying to figure out exactly who they are, how good they might be?
Yeah, I think that's fair. I mean, it's the same point is still relevant, even though, you know, Matt Carpenter tonight has a couple of base hits. Paul Goldschmidt tonight has doubled and singled. it has not served the greater purpose well. St. Louis has stranded 7 base runners and pushed across only 1 run. Of course, a lot of that is because Kyle Hendricks was terrific in navigating his way out of the jams that he faced tonight. And a called strike 3 taken by Rizzo, who is already halfway down to first base.
Yeah, 95-mile-an-hour fastball up in the zone. Rizzo thought it was too high. A borderline pitch. But Trip Gibson got it right, the home plate umpire. The 5-year veteran.
Here's Javi Baez, who takes a strike. Baez has been quiet tonight. After this one, the Cubs pack up and head to Colorado. 4 in Denver, 3 in Denver, that is, and then a weekend series in Los Angeles. And we'll be there for Sunday Night Baseball at Dodger Stadium a week from tonight. The Cardinals have just embarked on a long road trip after the 3 here at Wrigley. They've got 3 in Miami and then a weekend at Citi Field.
That sounds like a fun vacation. Miami, South Beach, and then New York City, baby.
Sounds like your week. Any given week.
Yeah, really. It sounds like your Instagram story. Carl Edwards and Pedro Strop, a couple of right-handers up in the Chicago bullpen. And again, as we've been talking about, everybody's going to be slotted a little bit differently when Craig Kimbrell is activated.
And it just makes you so much better. I mean, you think about having those 2 guys there as we get another chase there on the changeup. You get those 2 guys, instead of warming up in the 9th, they're warming up in the 6th. That makes your team so much deeper and better.
There's synchronized swimming down there. Isn't that supposed to be like when you're bowling, you let the guy next to you go first? You don't want to be doing the action on
Pedro,
the same exact moment.
Come on, Pedro. Catch up. Oh. When you forget, too, I mean, what doesn't get talked about is Brandon Morrow is going to return to this bullpen at some point this season, who was supposed to be their closer.
Carlos Gonzalez with some carry to the other field. Ozuna back, leaps, and it's into the basket.
Another big left-handed bat added to this Cubs offense. This is a miss by Martinez. The pitch actually leaps over middle away right into the zone of Carlos Gonzalez. Was supposed to be inside. And off the bat, you knew it was hit hard. You saw Ozuna go back. He thought he had a chance. He jumps up, and it just gets into the basket. Clears it by about an inch. Ozuna's like, where'd it go? He's looking around. It's going to come down.
5-1 Chicago. On Carr goes first as a Cub, and they're giving him the ice down. Oh, come on, somebody give him a handshake. Don't leave him hanging like that.
It's a long one.
3-time All-Star, 12 years in the Grande Ligas. Let's go. Oh man, they're taking this to the nth degree here. Did I miss it? Did somebody congratulate him and I missed it?
No, no one's even looking at
it looks really quiet there.
David Bodie's the only. Hey, nice job there. How you doing? I'm told that it already happened. We didn't see. There we go.
There
Okay.
it is. There it is.
Maybe they hate him.
Goodness. Swing and a miss by Wilson Contreras puts an end to the inning. Cubs tack on one more. Cargo's first is a Cubby. Put the lotion in the basket. 5-1 Chicago. Well, the Cubs are 3 outs away from closing out the Cardinals, finishing off their second sweep of the year over St. Louis. And they will turn to Carl Edwards Jr. to try to do it, making his first appearance in a 9th inning this year, and according to his manager, is throwing the ball as well as he has all season right now.
Well, and those numbers are not indicative of the stuff that Carl Edwards Jr. has. That 5.65 ERA showed his inability to just put away batters, but he has the stuff with a 4-seam fastball and a curveball. He'll throw off of it. And that's a 4-seamer right there, mid 90s, but he can cut this pitch. And this is where sometimes he'll run into trouble. He doesn't want to cut it, but it has so much late life, late movement. Sometimes he can't control it, but it is one of the hardest pitches to hit.
Yeah, he told me he went down to AAA and worked on getting his secondary pitches over for strikes. He was basically a one-trick pony before going down to AAA, and now he feels he can get all 3 pitches over for strikes at any point, and he actually prefers to face lefties because of that Mariano Rivera type cutter.
He's got the left-handed hitting Colton Wong here to lead off the 9th, and then Bader and Kisner. That miss him? That hit the bat?
How did this miss him?
Oh, my.
This was right at Colton Wong. This is when you wish you maybe weren't so acrobatic. You're trying to be defensive of it, but if you get 78 off the cleat, take a bag.
Well, especially if you're leading off an inning down in the 9th. If you're going to get hit, that's the right one.
3-1 from Edwards. And ball 4, leadoff hitters aboard.
Let's take a look at the Corona premiere moment. Go back to Kyle Hendricks and the night that he's had. Just a simple two-seam sinker. What he was able to do, have this pitch look like a ball, but come back middle, that center cut. But it's because he gets that late run on this pitch. Now remember, 87, 88 miles an hour. Look at where the hitters think it is and then where it ends up. It misses barrels. But for a hitter, this looks like BP. It looks like this is where it's going to be. And again, this is right before it gets to the plate. Ends up middle, which normally that's a fat pitch, 88 miles an hour. That's what you want to hit. But it's because of the late break that Hendricks is able to consistently get. 7 innings pitched, the 3 Ks, only 1 earned run.
Here's Harrison Bader as Edwards fires a strike. Bottom third of the Cardinals order tonight, just 1 for 9, 7, 8, 9 spots. Bader, for his part, is hitless and is behind 0-2. You know, the Carlos Gonzalez home run might have been seen by some as just window dressing. But Alex, you made this point last weekend, the difference between a 3 and a 4 run lead. I mean, it's math. Obviously, you want as big a lead as possible. But when you're trying to fade the final 3 outs of the game, especially after the leadoff walk, you're not in a position here to get beat or lose the lead in the case of a grand slam.
That's right.
Bader with a drive out to center field. Almora on the run, making a fine catch. He is a plus defender. That was a very difficult chance. A quick College World Series update with Kevin Connors back in the studio.
Yeah, Matt, the weekend of the Super Regionals has been outstanding. The series in Lubbock, epic. This is Texas Tech's Kurt Wilson rocking a 3-run homer in the 8th inning to give the Red Raiders an 8-6 win. They are headed to Omaha. Florida State LSU, by the way, in the bottom of the 10th over on ESPN2 right now. Matt, the College World Series starts on Saturday.
Fun stuff, man. When you get the guy hanging out on the outfield fence like that, players, we're not talking about fans.
Look at the ground that Albert Almora Jr. covers on this. Look where he starts. Look where he ends up. I mean, this is full speed. And guys, when you're running full speed, the ball is moving with you. He makes it look so easy, the speed, but also the ability to adjust as the ball adjusts. A lot of times that ball is bouncing as you are bouncing. But Albert Almora not only able to cover ground, but really make a hard catch look pretty easy.
I mean, the Cubs are making an incredible look right here. If you think about their outfield, they have a 5-time Gold Glove winner in right field, a 3-time Gold Glove winner in left field, a guy that plays like a Gold Glove in center. You have a Platinum Glove at first base in Rizzo, and their best defender hasn't won a Gold Glove, is probably playing shortstop with Baez. Terrific defensive team.
Good morning, good afternoon, good night. 3-pitch strikeout. And the Cubs are 1 out away from finishing out a sweep.
Watch the late cut on this pitch. It's going to be elevated up in the zone and then kind of slowly cut away from the bat of Kisner. Not only high velocity, high elevation, but then that little late movement. Joe Madden was accurate, Matt. Carl Edwards Jr. is finally starting to feel what we've seen from him in the past.
On their feet here at the friendly confines, Jose Martinez is the pinch hitter.
And Jess, he told me today, Edwards Jr., there's 2 things that I learned in AAA. I have to pitch with confidence and conviction. And he certainly is doing that tonight.
Martinez has been used sparingly this weekend. 2-0.
And if you're Wong at first base, you should go on the next pitch. And the reason why is you want to make sure the Baez and Bryant are forced to throw the ball across the infield. Eliminate the force. Big lead and go. Go now.
3 balls and no strikes.
Well, Alex, he can get that big lead. Rizzo has vacated first base. So they're almost giving it to you.
Indeed. In baseball, when they give you an inch, take it. If you're Martinez, you may take 2 strikes here.
He takes ball 4, so Edwards loses him on 4 pitches. It'll bring Matt Carpenter to the plate, and Paul DeJong will move into the on-deck circle as the potential tying run. And here comes Joe Maddon with a very slow pace to perhaps bring the hook with him and go to Pedro Strop. Edwards unable to close it out. And with Craig Kimbrell still getting himself back into baseball shape in Arizona, it's Pedro Strop that'll try to close tonight. We'll be right back. Matt Carpenter's first pitch from Pedro Strop wraps up the night. Talk about exerting minimum effort. 1 pitch from Pedro Strop, and that'll do her. The Cubs finish off their 2nd sweep of the Cardinals at home in as many tries this year. The trend stays true. The home team has won every game between the Cubs and Cardinals to start their season series in 2019. And it's another frustrating trip for St. Louis across I-55. They're hanging the W at the friendly confines tonight.
And the future Platinum Glove winner in Baez. Great play and a great throw to a moving target.
Final score at Wrigley Field tonight. The Cubs are 5-1 winners. Coming up next is Sports Center Tuesday on ESPN. The Mets and Yankees at 7 Eastern. For Alex Rodriguez, Jessica Mendoza, and Buster Olney, Matt Vasgersian saying good night from Wrigley Field. It's time for Sports Center. Let's send you to Kenny Mayne and John Buchagras.
Hey, they said our names. That's
Yeah.
us. We're on Sports Center. Hope you enjoyed the baseball game. Bonus coverage from it. Kyle Schwarber, as you see, will join the show. Stay for that and a whole bunch of other things.
Absolutely. Home runs on the double, Kenny Mayne.